Okay, what happened here? Hi guys, what up? It's your boy, I Hate Sonic 67, back at it again with another absolute banger video. Unfortunately, we will not be playing a banger game. Sega, after the marvelous success of Sonic Mania, decided it was high time we were due for another classic Sonic game. Great! Who are we gonna get to make it? Headcanon? The makers of Sonic Mania? Oh, someone new? That's pretty cool. What have they made? Oh, well, I mean, that's okay. What else have they... I don't think no one's very good. Have they made anything... honestly, I wasn't expecting much from this game. Generally, just a good game. You know, fun enough when you're playing it, but you quickly forget about it afterwards until it worms its way back into your nightmares. I will say it's nice to finally have a classic Sonic game with fully new levels rather than them relying on the old levels again. Unfortunately, the levels themselves are quite honestly kind of boring, aside from the computer level. I remember that one very well. Am I soft-locked again? Are you kidding me? Most of these levels are just retreads of older level themes, just slightly different, usually without anything extra to make them unique. Bridge Island Zone, Speed Jungle sure is a jungle with Eggman's machinery throughout it. Never seen that idea before. Sky Temple is a temple in the sky with windmills, is sort of like the Lost World level in Windy Valley had a baby. Not too bad, but I forgot it existed. Pinball Carnival Zone is hitting the nail on the head with that name. And boy, it sure does have pinball, and there's a carnival. Carnival of quality. But hey, don't worry, the second act mixes things up by turning dark and spooky. It's never been done before. Actually, Mario Wonder doesn't have this, does it? Lagoon City is a neat idea as far as water levels go. Other than the time I merged inside a giant octopus's head, it was alright. Sand Sanctuary Zone is a Wish.com Sandopolis with big snakes, which weirdly reminds me of Lost World again. Press Factory Zone said, if Sonic Mania mixes a press printing factory with a Japanese garden to make a cool new zone, how about we mix a press factory with a press factory to make a cool zone? Why is this one so ugly? Act 2 has a sort of Sandopolis gimmick where you need to stop the counter on this big old Eggman robot by pressing these buttons scattered throughout the level. But unlike in Sandopolis, you can't skip them and use your skill to continue. Instead, it's an instant kill. God forbid you miss up a single jump here. Golden Capital Zone is... another casino zone, what? Don't freak though, this one's got lava! And bullshit! Cyberstation Zone is the only genuinely interesting level idea in the bunch here, although as I said before, I got soft-locked multiple times. The first time I could damage boost through, but the second time I had to die to get the platforms moving again. Frozen Base sure is a frozen base. I think I hate this level the most. And Egg Fortress Zone is, well, it's the most cookie-cutter idea of a final Eggman level that you could think of. Other than the Act 2 gimmick, which has you play the level backwards due to Eggman's time travel machine that's never explained, there's actually a fun little secret you can do to get access to this level early. Here, take a look. This game cost me $100. So to give the game a small amount of credit, there are 11 different stages. Of course, some of them don't have more than one act in them, which is a little confusing. You know what? I take my credit back. You don't deserve it. Now, while these 11 levels of varying act quantity are nearly as bland as you can get, I say nearly because Lost World exists, it's not like there aren't any neat ideas in here. The computer level has cool models of every enemy and Sonic and Friends made of voxels, which I thought was really cool. Way to go. And later on in a boss fight in the same level, Eggman shows up with the robot that you've customized. Never thought I'd be fighting my little clown guy, but here he is. Speaking of the robot customization, you can unlock new parts with the medals that you can collect in levels, whether that be in the overworld or inside special stages. Bad time for this game to release right next to Spider-Man. You even get a medal for getting 100 rings, seeing as there aren't lives anymore. I suppose this makes the most sense. Unfortunately, if you aren't going to be playing much of battle mode, the medals mean dick all, so other than that one special boss fight, these things will be pretty much useless. Which is unfortunate because like Sonic Frontiers and its currencies, which quickly became useless, they could have implemented a shop of some sort for music tracks from other Sonic games you could pick to play during the levels. Please. What the heck happened to the soundtrack here? Who made this shit? No. You're telling me Jun Sonoe, composer of my favorite Sonic soundtracks of all time, Sonic Hero, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic 4... Oh, that makes sense. But T-Lopes! I was listening to T-Lopes before Mania was even a sperm in Takashi Iizuka's balls. What tracks did he do? This is giving me Balan Wonderworld vibes. To be fair, the T-Lopes tracks are the best in the soundtrack, but they're definitely not on Studiopolis's level or any of the tracks in Mania, to be honest. Hi everybody, Rad from the future here. I wanted to just hop in and say I listened to the soundtrack again, this time without the ear blasting sound effects that the game continuously pulsates you with. And soundtrack wasn't as bad as I originally thought it was. Still not by any means my favorite. It's still very average and mixed. There are some in there that I really don't like. There are some in there, though, that I actually have grown to like quite a lot. Like, I really like the pinball level. Anything that T-Lopes has done is pretty good. This is other composer, Rintaro Soma. Their stuff was quite nice. So just wanted to say that before, going into the rest of the video. Just wanted to be fair. And I know my opinions here aren't exactly the most popular, and I understand that. This is just generally my take on the, on the game. If you like the game, that's great. That's good on you. But this is why this video is called RadicalSoda. Not, I'm giving my general thoughts, not a general overview like any other reviewer. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. And almost if the soundtrack wasn't bad enough, I guess the kind folks who brought us this thought our ears hadn't been through enough, so slapped in some amazing sound mixing too. Thankfully, you can turn down the sound effects in the settings, something Sonic Colors Ultimate could learn from. Oh, I forgot I need to, I have to go all the way back to the main menu to change a fucking setting. I just want the audio to be a little louder for you guys. The music is quiet, but the sound's good. Oh my god. What? It didn't save? Okay. Save that time. And I'm gonna check the options. And if sound effects are back to 10, I'm gonna scream. Ah! Most of the sound effects also seem to be plucked from all over, seemingly at random. Man, I just realized I haven't even mentioned the gameplay yet. A lot of people were worried going into this game that we weren't going to get proper physics. Whatever could have led them to that, I wonder. But you'll be pleased to know the physics here, rolling, jumping, acceleration, flying, gliding, are all very similar to regular classic Sonic. Are they the same? No. The characters are all a little heavier in the air, and with their momentum, like Knuckles fucking slides 4 miles each time he lands a glide. And the jumping doesn't feel quite as responsive, but it's definitely not worth getting your knickers in a twist over it. Sonic can still drop dash just fine. No insta-shield, but whatever, Tails can still fly, Knuckles can still climb walls, glide, and levitate. And Amy has her hammer and can do stuff with it. And while the levels themselves look like somebody on the development team took a quick glance at Sonic 4 and said, "Hey, let's do that!" The characters, however, all look very nice, especially Sonic. I love the little startup that was run. They all have a little bit of squash and stretch. The animations themselves are great to look at. Knuckles, I'm trying to pay you a compliment. Stop it. What's with you and the credits? Oh, now he's doing something else. One of the biggest selling points of this game, other than the co-op, was the special Emerald powers. You can get the emeralds from these aforementioned special swinging stages, and I'm just going to be real with you guys, they kind of suck. There are 8 powers, 1 for each emerald, and then of course there's your super form. Or Knuckles now has superpowers. What was wrong with saying Super Knuckles? Oh, because he doesn't go super. Where's his pink fur? Why does he have a golden aura like Sonic? Are they retroactively taking away everything that makes Super Knuckles unique? Tails with superpowers doesn't have his flickies, so there goes that fun little bit. Hey, wait a minute, in the credits, Knuckles went pink. His after image is still of a weird yellow hue to him, but what's the big idea here? So anyway, the powers are as follows, and I'm going to call them what I called them during my time with the game. Clones, absolutely necessary. You basically need to use this one if you don't want to drive yourself insane on boss fights. When you aren't waiting for a boss to become vulnerable, and trust me, you're waiting a lot, you're trying to figure out when you can attack it, even if it does look vulnerable. You gotta wait like 10 seconds between each time you hit the boss. What's even the point of the flashing here? He's still fucking invincible after it stops. Clone helps you out by just kind of hitting the boss as soon as it becomes attackable again, which, again, will range in time depending on what boss you're fighting. Or waiting for. Burst Wisp shoots in whatever direction you want for a fair amount of time. Again, really great for ignoring the boss's mechanics and whacking them if you can. I say if you can because of the bullshit invincibility, but also at the time it actually takes to activate one of these powers. You select your power and you think, hey, I can use it right away, right? Nope, you gotta wait until the menu closes. Pressing the power button doesn't do jack diddly. Genuinely don't know why that's how it works. Oh, and if you get hit while you have one selected, you better select it again because it's gone now. The water power lets you go up waterfalls and swim in water, sort of stiffly, really. Very odd feeling to piloting this, but it's very situational. We used it in like one level for the most part, and then it's never really used again. The vine power lets you ride a vine upwards. Again, it's very situational. Usually it's faster to just go the way you're meant to instead of trying to use this thing. And even then, you could always just use the burst wisp to get up faster. This one really feels like filler. At least you can use it to get up to the high ground to get like hit a boss's weak spot, I suppose. Purple power lets you see invisible platforms and rings, and the game will tell you when this power is needed, so that's nice at least. Nothing too much to say here, really. You either have the power to get the secret stuff or you don't, and you won't realize you even needed it if you don't have it. It has no effect in bosses either. This one really feels kind of unneeded. The slow power slows down time, making bosses or hard platforming segments easier, or at least that's what they want you to think. It doesn't actually slow down time, rather it just slows down animations. Auto-scrolling segments still stay at their regular speed. This one could have been useful in a perfect world, but with the way it takes so long to select the power, then having to wait until the menu disappears to actually use it, you're more than likely already dead by the time it's activated. So if it was mapped to its own button, it'd be helpful as all balls. But the way it is now, not so much. Last power is called Unique, and that's not my name for it, that's the real name in the game. Each character gets a special power, which, I'm gonna say it again, should have just been its own button. Knuckles gets a punch projectile, for example, and it's kinda useless. At least it is when you have to go through the whole rigmarole of the menu bollocks. Hopefully they can update the game to maybe have the shoulder buttons be connected to certain powers. Not that I'm gonna be playing this game again, but I know there's other people who really like it, so, you know, that would be great for them. Maybe like a little, like, bar, like, at the bottom, like, each ring you collect, like, fills up the bar, and you have segments on the bar, and you press, like, R1, for example, and you use your special move, like your Tails Tornado Spin, and it uses up one of the segments. I think that could be cool. Like, you know, that would actually feel like an upgrade to Tails' moveset, rather than just like, oh, okay, now I can use the Tails Spin for, like, 10 seconds. Moving on, and judging from my earlier comments about how the boss fights keep you waiting for long periods of time, I don't think it's much of a surprise to hear that the final boss also sucks big time. It wouldn't be so bad if, again, most of it wasn't just waiting, but even figuring out when you're meant to hit it, along with some really weird hitboxes, makes this just not very fun. And then if you die, you gotta do the first segment all over again, and I don't think I have to tell you this, but it's kind of boring. It all ends up feeling kind of irritating rather than challenging. Hell was that? Once you do beat it with optional glitch Eggman Death Egg Robot Head, you unlock the new character Trip, who shows up alongside Fang in the main story. And yes, Fang's in the game, believe it or not. You'd be hard pressed to remember that fact when he only turns up like twice. Trip's pretty neat, actually. She can turn into the Spike Wisp from Sonic Colors. She's got a double jump. Her animations look like Vectors from Knuckles Chaotix. Overall, a pretty solid addition to the team. I like her. Her unique powers to shoot fireballs, which are a little buggy, not gonna lie. In her super powers ability, Okay. What the heck is going on here? I think this is the first time we've seen the Chaos Emeralds change a character quite so drastically, and into a quadruped at that. I don't know what the development team was thinking with this one. Probably wanted to try something new, which is neat. It's a cool idea to make a character superform a literal fire-breathing flying dragon, but the level design isn't really designed around it. Then again, calling this level design might be a little generous.
I have encountered the end of the world. Well, I should better use my cool new move, my Vine.
Also, I just want to point out, you ripped Tails', Knuckles, and Amy's superforms away from them, now insisting that they get superpowers from the Chaos Emeralds when this new character gets a whole new body and drastically changes their gameplay? That's favoritism right there. Where's my Super Knuckles with additional hats, Sega? Trip has her own special story with cool new level design, which essentially boils down to let's add a shitload of enemies everywhere. Needless to say, it's a bit of a slog having to replay the same levels in the exact same order, with the only changes being a slight level redesign, maybe, I think. Kinda hard to tell when the whole stage looks exactly the same, but I was, however, informed of a super form glitch that happens when you cancel the transformation a little too early. You get to keep the form and don't lose any rings while using it. This made it great for me. I hated that final boss boss so much the first time that I managed to gather up a metric crap ton of rings before I got to it. I also cried myself to sleep that night. However, this glitch isn't without its own glitches somehow. First of all, if you wanted an easy way to turn off the music without having to exit the level, go back to the main menu, turn down the music option, save the setting, go back into the game, then have it reset after 5 minutes. You can, instead, simply fail at the glitch and earn your blissful silence in the process. Smooth as butter, baby. You can also mess with Trip's model in the cyberspace stage. I'm just gonna let this one speak for itself. I don't know what the hell happens here. Even without the metric crap ton of rings due to unforeseen circumstances, I still took on Trip's final boss, which is Fang. I'm not going to question how Trip's story lines up exactly with everybody else's, including the time thing, but now with an egg robo. This game doesn't explain any of the story, so why should I even bother guessing? This fight plays out pretty much the same as the first final boss. You finish phase 1 and then you move on to stage 2, no checkpoints allowed. But fortunately, this boss is easier than the first final boss. But it's not better. The original final boss was doom-shardingly annoying because of the weird hitboxes, huge amounts of waiting, and extremely unforgiving second phase. Now this boss has one-hit kills. 3 of them, to be exact. One of which comes out of absolutely nowhere. Oh, it still has a metric fuck ton of waiting, of course. What's even the point of this missile move here? I wasn't even looking and I was avoiding it. And this instant death laser is a total snore, although you can find ways around it, so at least that's something. And it beats having to do this over and over again. This is just annoying. It's not difficult. It's annoying. This, on the other hand, is total bullshit, but hey, at least I feel like I'm improving each time I play the fight. Not that I'm saying it's good. I don't think I could categorize a single one of these game's bosses into the good tier. At most, you've got a couple of acceptables you could slap in. But hey, it wasn't the Death Egg robot again, and that's what matters. Of course, there's still a supersonic boss fight right at the end of the game. A giant dragon looking awfully similar to Trip flies out of the ocean, and it's up to Sonic and friends to take it down. Well, I say Sonic and friends, but only Tails and Knuckles bother showing up. Apparently, Amy and Trip can show up, but I never saw them, so I have to jump to the assumption that they just fucked off somewhere. So you fight this Barney-ass bastard of Supersonic, obviously, grabbing rings that fall from the sky. You've got a dash that costs rings. They don't tell you this, so I ran out pretty quickly on my first try. There's all sorts of new attacks this thing throws at you to waste time, I guess. I mean, you don't lose rings when it attacks you, so I don't know what the deal is here. When I couldn't attack him, which is the majority of the time, you gotta remember this is Sonic super stalling for time, I was just flying around desperately trying to find Tails or Knuckles who would blip into existence every now and again to give you some rings. And while Sonic Frontiers made you feel an amazing sense of power as Super Sonic, this game makes you feel like a drug addict looking for that next high, aka more rings. They also surprise you with a new mechanic at the end of the 10-minute fight. That's cool. You're supposed to line up the rings here and dash at them. I could barely see the inner ring. Good lord, if chat wasn't here to help me out, I could have been stuck on this for a long time. The boss fight ends with Barney getting absorbed by a purple egg that Trip holds up, and then the game is over. They don't explain who he is, what his plan was, why he was there, why he has similar visual traits to Trip, or why when he roars he doesn't make a sound. I love you. You love me. Anyway, the whole game came out feeling really rushed. I know, right? A Sonic game? Rushed? No way! Clearly it was shipped out way too fast without a clear goal in mind. Everything feels so slapped together without much care put into it. The levels feel forgettable, the music's not the quality I'd expect from Sonic. There are so many glitches I can't even count them. Clipping, getting hit from nothing, music errors, softlocks, you name it, I found it. I didn't even test the multiplayer stuff. I can only imagine what that's like.
Oh yeah, I forgot first. All right,
What? We're above what? We're above ground, are we? Are we above ground? We're above ground! What do you mean? What the fuck?
I didn't even look for this clip. I opened up Sam's VOD, I just skipped to a random part, said to myself, this game's buggy, I'm sure something will happen. I did not expect that. Every boss fight is just waiting until you can finally hit the thing, even when it looks hittable. Sometimes it just isn't, making them annoying as all balls. Speaking of annoying, the powers, one of the main selling points of the game, are just that, annoying to use, due to the wait you have to endure before you can actually activate them. You know, that's what I would rate this game, annoying. It ain't some horrible, terrible mess like Sonic Forces. You know I had to say it. The physics are serviceable, the characters are fun to play as, and they look nice. Some of the ideas are neat. Did you know that they used the original loop idea in the Gold Casino level? I thought that was kinda neat. Also thought the upside down gravity stuff was kinda neat. I thought the cyberspace level was also kinda neat. I thought Trip as a character was pretty neat too. But that's all they were. They were little neat moments in an incredibly annoying game. And all of this for $60. You know, if it had been $40 or $20 like Mania, I probably wouldn't have been so harsh. But $60? Are you pulling my nutsack, Sega? I also forgot to mention that if you buy the game on Steam, you need an Epic Games account. I expected de novo, but really? Epic Games? You gotta shove that shit into Steam? I didn't even know that was possible. That's why I got the game on PS5. I don't need more additional shit layered on top of itself. God damn, I could complain forever about this game. I'm just gonna end it here by giving it an extremely annoying out of 5. Get your shit together, Sega. What the fuck is an Accolades trailer? Are you kidding? Who's giving this game a 9 out of 10?